This segment is brought to you by The Harvest. Meet us in downtown St. Augustine, where you can sip, savor, and shop your way into something unforgettable. Enjoy hand-selected wines, explore a market filled with artisan goods from local makers, and indulge in chef-inspired specials designed for the season. Sip well, savor more, and shop local.
Welcome to Ancient City Creatives, the only podcast that is produced just steps from the Bridge of Lions here in St. Augustine. And today we have a very special guest, a world-class photographer, Kevin Dodge. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. Pleasure.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about the project that we have right now, which is Two Worlds here in La Casa Studios.
These are 18 pieces of mine, and the Two Worlds, I guess I call it because I just, talking about going underwater. As soon as I go underwater, I'm in another world, another universe. And I don't have to go to space. You can jump off the dock or go on the beach, or I'm usually deeper in the ocean, obviously. But that is the idea of this. It's two worlds, you know, the above world and the below world. And I just love the idea of having two universes.
Now, without having to give one up, which one do you prefer?
Well, it's a lot more quieter, and I don't hear horns honking or complaints underneath the ocean. But I love them both.
Yes. So let me ask you something about like what inspires you to, like what gets you out the door one day and you say I want to capture this type of image. Do you go with an image in mind that you're looking for, or you just go out and spend time in nature? And then you're like, wait a moment, I have to document this. You know, how do you find inspiration?
That would be very so. When the fish stuff or something like that, that's a planned trip with a captain. I'm very fortunate. I've now some of the top captains of the world, and the trade is I'll go with them on the boat for free. Mm-hmm. In the beginning, you can imagine when I first started, like, what do you mean you want to go on the boat? Now they're all dying for me to go on the boat. And I will give them pics for them they can use for their website and for their promotion. And I'm just there, and when they hook something, I jump in. So there I have an idea. I know they're going sail fishing. I know there's certain thoughts of shots that I've always dreamed about getting. Mm-hmm. And many times I've seen those shots, but I can't get there. I've seen things happen to me 30, 40, 50 feet away, like, oh my goodness, that's what I've dreamed. I mean, a sailfish is the fastest fish in the world, mm-hmm. and by no means, I'm an incredible swimmer with my fins, but you can't swim it down. I'm just trying to corner it at some point. So I'm just waiting for that spot, trying to find it and get it one spot. The wave stuff on the beaches, now that's something I definitely spend a little more time, like I wait for the right tide, the wind, knowing I don't want a clear day. I need a day with actually clouds without just a clear blue sky. It's just because a sunset, when somebody says a sunset, it's not the sunset, it's the clouds that actually make the sunset.
Absolutely.
So you need to have that. So that's a little more set up. The fish stuff, I kind of know what I'm doing, but I just get myself there. When I see it, I shoot it because it happens so fast. So, and then the oceanscapes, the starfish things, those are just being in incredible areas and seeing finding a spot. That's a little bit north, but you kind of are in a certain area looking for that.
Now, I have a question, like as far as like the places you've been. I consider myself a salty dog, you know, with the ocean. I grew up as a kid in the Pacific Ocean. So you've been in both. Which one do you prefer to photograph in?
Well, I've shot for marlin expeditions in the Pacific off Guatemala and stuff, but I have not been in the Pacific very much. Not a lot. And most of my stuff's been in the Atlantic. Mm-hmm. With some great stuff over there. But I'm more of an Atlantic guy just because of where I lived. I was born and raised in South Miami and lived in the Keys. So most of everything I do is probably Bahamas, Keys, and Mexico. I mean, that little circle of where we are in this world is as pretty as anywhere. I mean, you can go to the Indian Ocean across the world and maybe find something that's pretty, but you can't find prettier water than the Bahamas. You cannot. Absolutely. It's as pretty. Yeah. So why try? I don't need to. So that really gives me the spot. All the diving and fishing, the fishing captain stuff. That's all Keys and Florida because the boats and the oceanscapes. A lot of that's the Bahamas because of the water. It's just clear. And then a lot of the wave stuff is just right in my hometown, Boca and Delray. I've done.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Now, let me ask you: is there, if you had to get the dream, the most elusive picture that, is there a particular wildlife that you're looking for that if I could get the picture of just that one, a whale, you know, a shark in a certain light, just something that's elusive that if you could, it would complete your, like your collection.
You know, the whale stuff, I don't really have I've never had much of a draw to that, only because I know a lot of people can do that. When I started this, I wanted to do something that nobody else could.
Correct.
Like shooting game fish that are hooked. And people ask why they're hooked. A fish that's not hooked, it looks like a fish. When they're hooked is when you get the motions, the head turning, and the incredible moments. It's very difficult, but that's what's unique about it. But there is one shot that I really want, and the mako, I would love a great white, but we don't have, but a big mako shark. I want to get one, and they're really deep where the swordfish are, but I haven't seen one, and I have a theory that they see me on top of the water, because there's no way they haven't been where I've been with swordfish before. But I think they see me, and people don't realize sharks don't like to fight for their food. So I think they maybe not come up, but I would love Nick Stanzik, great sword fisherman, one of the best in the world, and catch a big mako and then tie it off his tail to the boat and have it just trying to get at me, and right in front of his face, seeing his mouth go back and forth. I don't want a shark. I want the mouth open with the jaws. Right. I mean, like nasty, big, giant shot. That's one I really want. That may be hard to get, but I think I'm going to get it at some point.
At some point, but now you did touch upon that's kind of risky at times, right? Tell us a little bit about the experience you had with one of the fish turning on you.
Well, swordfish, as soon as they come up, they will try to kill you. And if you talk to people that are sword fishermen, longliners and stuff, and if you told somebody somebody that jumps in the water with them, they would laugh at you. They don't believe you because you're not supposed to. The average person doesn't understand or know about swordfish because they're very deep. You have to catch them at the continental shelf. So shoot off St. Augustine, you might be going off 50, 60 miles. The Keys, it's like 25. Actually, in Boca, it's pretty close, only 15, but where it drops 16, 1,800 feet. So you're hooking a fish that's at a depth that deep, it's pitch black. There's zero light. And their eyeballs they're giant eyeballs because they're living in black. Right. Plus, it's 32 degrees. We fought fish for a couple hours, come up, and they're still cold. So you're taking a fish out of that depth and pulling them out of the thermal layers and then out of a cave into the light. They're furious. I've seen them attack boats. I've seen them attack the propellers. Right. And I'm not a thrill seeker or live on the edge. I'm just trying to get a great shot, but I love my life. I'm just careful. Right. And so one time I was in with a swordfish in the beginning of the days when I shot him, and I got into a bad spot, and I've learned in certain areas not to get. And he came around the boat, thought about it once, came around the second time, and I remember him turning, and he lit it up full bleed right at me, full force. And I remember going, he's going to try to spear me in the chest. Oh, man. And it's amazing when you're in a situation like that in life that everything slows down like so much. It's unbelievable what a second does. But I had a surge of energy go through my body that I'd never felt in my life. It was not human. And I could only liken it to, when you hear the stories of somebody lifting up something like a car because of their, adrenaline or something. And mine obviously wasn't strength, but it was quickness or something. So I reached out and I grabbed the sword as he came at me, and I stuck it between my legs. It was the only open spot, and his body hit me real hard. And I used to play quarterback, so I was hit like a linebacker. It hit me hard. And I pushed him off, and I stayed in the water a little bit, but I didn't realize I still shot him some more. But I'll never forget that feeling of the adrenaline, because when it happened, I screamed underwater. It wasn't a scream of scare. It was just like it was like an adrenaline release. And it was, up to this day, it just wasn't my time. Right. It wasn't my time, and I didn't realize till I got back in the boat, and we were holding the swordfish, three of us, the captain, the other captain, and me in the middle. And the girl take the picture, goes, "Kevin, what happened to your shorts?" And there was he went right at my crotch. Oh, good. Through. I've heard all the funny stories, right? But, your femoral artery, I'm like, guys, your femoral, 2 seconds. And a couple weeks after that, Randy, a captain in Hawaii, Kona, was killed by a little teeny one. Wow. It was really sad. I actually went out there and shot, and interviewed the people. And Outdoor Channel took us out to the Bahamas, took me out to the Bahamas, and went for a couple weeks. That's where I got the cave shots.
Absolutely.
The Pirates Cave.
Yeah, the Pirates Cave. Yeah.
Because we were on a 2-week thing. They were shooting a show for the Outdoor Channel, a swordfish attack that I lived, and he didn't make it. They didn't run the show. I think they probably figured it wasn't a good idea after a while because he didn't live. But that was an incredible event. So I get in now, but as soon as I get in the water, when they're hooked, you can tell they're looking to find a way. They're going to try to get you. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
It's not something you do. But I have a swordfish collection nobody in the world has. I can tell you that.
I would be inclined to put my equipment away after that close call. But let me ask you this: as far as like, favoring the Caribbean, pretty much the waters and everything, especially the Bahamas is a beautiful place. Are there any islands that you feel that you want to document, with your art, with your photography?
The Exumas, to me, the water is absolutely the prettiest I've ever seen. The Bahamas is pretty water, but the Exumas is even known for being like the prettiest of the Bahamas. Wow. And that's where the starfish shot is shot, where it doesn't, that starfish shot, that's underwater. Right. The starfish, people don't even know that until I tell them, but it's an over-under shot. That's how clear the water is. And when you're there, if you're diving at 40 or 50 feet, you can look up and say a boat's anchored, and it looks like it's so clear sometimes. It's not, there's clear days, right, but it looks like the boat's floating in the water. It looks like it's floating sometimes. That's how clear it is. It's just, absolutely, I love that part because the water's just crystal clear. I mean, I'm being really, because the Keys in Mexico, it's really clear. I'm talking ridiculous clear. Right. Like gin, I haven't seen it. So.
That's wonderful. Now, let me ask you, as far as like, when you have situations like that where it's very fulfilling to capture a shot like that and to have your name on it, obviously, how do you feel that's going to be a legacy for, let's say, your family? Is that the way you leave a mark on the world? Is through through the photography, or through the passion of getting that perfect shot?
I don't know about the legacy. My boys are, I had them in the Keys when they were really young, and they're divers and fishermen, but they're not photographers. Well, actually, my one son, it's weird. He's now a video guy for a big TikTok. I mean, he has millions of followers. A fitness guy, and he does his videos. He's doing great. I guess it was just in his blood. Yeah. But I don't know how that would affect them. I guess they just see my work, and they know how much of a water guy I am, and they love it too. But I don't know how that would affect them, except just leaving them with the passion. But you never know how things change. I didn't expect to be doing this. I've shot models for 20 some years before I ever moved to this side. Right. So I was a photographer, but I was not shooting this, and the industry went a different way. And I saw somebody doing something like this, and I went, "Oh, there's no way. I think I can take the whole idea was taking it to a level that nobody had seen, because I had been as a freak diver, but right, then I was always a very established photographer. So that's why I got to this point, because I wanted to try to create something that nobody had."
So being in front of the camera was the beginning of your career, and then which one did you prefer? Like the notoriety of being behind the camera, or being in front of the camera?
I was I loved it both ways. I did it as a kid growing up. And then was a big athlete. I was a pitcher at Florida State. I thought that's what I would be playing in the majors, playing baseball till I had surgery. And then after that, I just went back I said, well, I guess I'll just model full time. And I did that, and I loved it. And I loved the freedom of the life. I mean, I didn't realize it had never 9-to-5 job, the way you were treated, the travel. I mean, everything I loved it. And it was great. And I would have done it forever and ever. But my brother, who was 7 years younger, he'd done a little bit growing up. He finished college behind. He was going to get into it. And a friend of mine was going to take pictures of him, Rick Gomez, a friend of mine, and photographer. And he says, "Oh, Kevin, I can't last minute. Just take my camera. You can shoot just some test pictures." And I went and shot him. He goes, "Hey, you got a great eye. You should shoot." So I went back that same day. We both lived in Coconut Grove, and I gave him $1,000 for an F3 because I was like, wow, this is cool. I mean, I'd never thought about shooting. Then I started shooting my daughter, who was 4 months old, started shooting pictures, and I'd take it to him. He goes, "Oh, my gosh, this is the best baby shot I've ever seen." And he would take it to his agency. He was big with stock shooting, And they signed me, and I started shooting. And they go, well, if you can shoot like 2 days a month, you can. I'm like, 2 days a month? I'll shoot every day. I mean, so production wise, I actually got into that and started going past the photographers that had been shooting me forever, left them like they were sitting on the ground because I just worked my ass off. and became very successful with that. And it wasn't, I didn't ever leave modeling. I just was doing better with that. But even to this day, agents that I have known forever, they'll call me for a job and say, hey, can you do this job? If it's good enough, I'll do it. They still call me.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
Now, as far as like, what do you see? What do you envision? Let's say 5 years from now, do you see yourself still taking pictures, still getting out in the ocean and looking for that perfect shot? You know, the older we get,
Sure.
you know, it's something. How well does the sea treat you over time?
Well,
Yeah.
there's a couple goods and bads. The tough thing is the Gulf Stream stuff, the sailfish and stuff like that. The amount of energy it takes to move those I have long fins and I can move fast, but the amount of energy that it takes from your back strap and your thighs, from your hamstrings, is massive. And so I train today twice a week when
Wow.
I'm out of season, just in the LA Fitness, the long pool. That's why I go to that gym, because they have the long pool. Because if you don't have those, if you get called to go or you want to go shoot something and you're not, the ocean will spit you out. Like, they'll laugh at you. I've swam back with both thighs and cramp. You know, when your hamstring cramps, that's
Yeah.
painful.
Oh, yes.
And I've had them both locked up and I'm like screaming, doggy paddling back to the boat. So I don't want to do that. But the other side is, it's amazing how even you get older, once you get in the sea, you don't feel old anymore. There's no weight, there's no gravity, your bones, it's very different. So you can last a lot longer underwater than you think you can, because you're, and I'm just so used to it. But yes, obviously there's going to be a point where I can't do that high end stuff, crazy stuff. But I can always do the oceanscapes and different things. But
Absolutely.
I think that's a ways away.
Yes, absolutely. No, I have to share personally that one of my favorite works is the grotto. Can you describe to me just the feeling of being in there when you're getting that shot? Being at that time of day.
Yeah, that was very cool. It's a famous spot. It's called Thunderball Grotto, just so you know, and it's called Thunderball Grotto because they shot Thunderball, the Sean Connery James Bond movie there. And it was shot in '64, and that was the spearfishing movie where they were, and that was shot in there. So that's why it's called Thunderball Grotto to this day. Right. So the problem is, it's a famous spot, so a lot of people there. To get in there by yourself is hard. So
right.
I had to go at a weird time. You have to go at a certain tide to get in there, and then there's a hole on top that a lot of people will climb up and jump through. So you got to get out of the way of Jim jumping, and then you want the water smooth. So it was to get that time and spot was hard, but. Very unique place, very cool spot, very different. I don't think many people have thought to shoot that as much because it's very dark in there. It's hard,
right.
But it is a very unique spot.
Yeah, no, and I think part of the story you're telling us gives an idea to our audience of just how physically demanding it is. So it's not only that you have the eye, you have the capability of, and the patience. That
wasn't too bad, but the fish stuff, and we did a little more of the waves and things, but the crazy fish stuff that I'm known for. It's very difficult. I've been attacked by sharks. I've been, that's crazy. Like a lot of the Marlin magazine and some of those articles that you see, a lot of those cover shots are mine. Right. So you're jumping in with marlin and sailfish and dolphin and things like that, and that's can be very dangerous. But you just have to, it's fun though, but you have to pay attention to what you're doing.
So there's one particular picture that you have, which is like the bonefish that are under the surface. So tell us a little bit about how you set up something like that, where you want to get the perfect moment, get everybody in the shot. Yeah.
Well, that was done in the Bahamas again, because the water, you can tell, is crystal clear. It's in the Exumas area. And there was a lot of bonefish near the island. But anybody that knows bonefish, it's one of the most skittish fish there is. It's a very big sport fish, but a lot of people will come up to me at a big art show and say, how'd you get there? I couldn't even get to her in the boat to cast to them. I said, dude, I was in there for a long time.
Right.
So what I did was I went in there, and it was probably about 4.5 feet, and I got there and held the camera up like this and stood there, and my two legs just basically became, objects, trees. So I stood there for hours, 3 or 4 hours probably, and I'd see him. You can even see in that picture, you can see a little ruffle close to the island. There's more schools over there, and a few would come closer and closer, and finally, when they got closer one time, I just leaned down and brought my camera and did a half under, half over shot of the bonefish. And it's just a classic shot. It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful picture. Now, I wanted to, I guess, to reiterate, we have you here in La Casa Studios with Two Worlds project here on display. We invite everyone to please come out and support and see the beautiful pictures for yourself. You will not be disappointed. Some of those amazing pictures are just breathtaking, and they illustrate a place that some of us don't have the capability of going to. Right. So I would like to thank you once again for being a guest on Ancient City Creatives. It has been an honor for me personally to meet you. And once again, you could come and visit us here in St. Augustine, in the heart of St. Augustine, and see Two Worlds.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.